So you've got this brilliant idea, right? But turning that spark into a funded reality? Well, that comes down to having a powerful, persuasive plan. Today, we're going to zero in on the most critical part of that plan, the one document that can literally make or break your pitch: the use of funds.
Look, don't think of this as just some boring spreadsheet. It's not. It's the strategic map for your entire venture. It shows investors the exact route you're going to take from their capital to incredible returns. This is your blueprint for success.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan. We'll start by creating your financial map, then we'll break down the budget, set some really clear priorities, put it all on a timeline, and finally, we'll talk about how you're going to measure success. Easy enough, right?
Okay, first things first. Every great journey has to start with a destination. And for our financial map, that means nailing down your core objective. This right here is your North Star. What's the goal? Are you scaling a product? Are you trying to crack a new market? You have to be super specific. State exactly how much money you need and over what period, like 1 year or maybe 18 months. That level of clarity isn't just a tiny detail. It's the bedrock of investor confidence.
So, we've got our destination locked in. Now it's time to chart the actual routes to get there. This is really the heart of your map, the budget breakdown. This is where you prove you've thought strategically about every single dollar.
A powerful budget is so much more than a list of expenses. It's a framework for growth. Of course, you've got your R&D and marketing, the usual suspects. But look closely. Notice the inclusion of a contingency fund. Acknowledging that things can go wrong shows investors you're not just an optimist, you're a realist. And that is what builds true credibility.
Now let's bring this to life with a visual. This allocation tells a really clear story, doesn't it? That huge slice for R&D, that screams we're committed to a superior product. The big marketing budget shows you get it. Innovation is totally worthless if no one knows about it. At a single glance, an investor sees a balanced, aggressive growth strategy.
Having a budget is one thing, but here's what savvy investors are really looking for: focus. You can't do everything at once, so now you've got to prove you know what truly matters, right now, by setting some crystal clear priorities.
This is where you separate the must-haves from the nice-to-haves. High-priority items are all about survival and immediate growth. Medium is for scaling up, and low is for stuff you can get to later. But here's the key. Every single high-priority item needs a rock-solid reason why. This is what proves to investors you're a disciplined leader, not just a dreamer with a long wish list.
Okay, so we've defined our priorities, we've justified the costs. Now, we put it all in motion. The timeline is what turns your financial plan from a static document into a dynamic, actionable schedule.
And listen, this isn't just a calendar. It's a masterclass in capital efficiency. By tying your spending to specific milestones, like R&D in Q1, product launch in Q2, you're showing investors you have a sequential, logical plan. You're not just throwing money at things. It's operational discipline in action.
All right, we've built a plan, but here's the most critical step of all: proving it works. This final section is all about accountability, how you'll track your progress and keep that investor trust strong.
Think about it this way. Accountability has two sides. Monitoring is your internal dashboard. It's how you stay on track. Reporting, on the other hand, is your external commitment, how you communicate your progress to your investors. One makes sure you're on course, the other makes sure your stakeholders stay on board for the ride.
Let's be real. Every investor wants to know the answer to one question. When does my investment stop being fuel and start generating its own power? And this number, 18 months to break even, is your answer. A clear, justifiable timeline like this makes the end goal feel tangible, achievable, and most importantly, investable.
And here it is, the payoff, the ultimate destination on your map. A compelling return on investment is more than just a number. It's the reward for the risk. And when a figure like this is backed up by all the meticulous planning we just went through, it's what turns a conversation into a signed check.
Now, those big flashy numbers we just looked at, the ROI, the break-even point, they're only believable if they're supported by a serious system of accountability. This framework answers the tough questions. Who's responsible? How often will you report? Spelling this out proves you're not just selling a dream, you're building a reliable, transparent operation.
So, as you build your own plan, let this be your guiding question. It's the ultimate test that separates a good idea from a truly fundable business. Answer this well, and you won't just be asking for money, you'll be presenting an undeniable opportunity.